Yeah, I hate to break it to both my co-host and everyone watching. We actually have a ton to talk about, and it is Marvel Snap related in this
This sucks.
podcast today. Yes, I
All
mean,
right, can we talk about Star Rail next week?
we will get to that. Like, of the three major events in my life this week, Kid Omega, the United States bombing Iran, and an equally
Yes.
bad thing, the Oklahoma City Thunder winning the NBA championship. All of these things have added up to just this being one of the worst weeks of my personal and professional life. And
Oklahoma City Thunder NBA championship. Is that like official NBA or is that made up?
yeah, no, they're a real team.
That
They're
sounds like a
real.
made up team.
Oh, I mean, I wish they were. I wish I could banish them back to the demonic realm they came from. Very hateable team. Speaking of very hateable things, let's talk about Kid Omega. Just a
50K.
little
I just started spending
50K.
my volts on random nonsense.
I mean, I think anyone listening to this will know this. I bought Kid Omega immediately. Everyone threw tomatoes at me, and now I'm donating the revenue from every video of a card like this to charity, which I am very happy with. It was like the one bright spot in my week was being like, oh, I can donate to charity. And then someone pointed out in the comments, I don't even make enough per video to buy Kid Omega, which really put a lot of things in perspective.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I don't know if you know this, but you can just give to charity whenever you want.
Right. I'm using this as the opportunity to do that because it's not like I expect them to do this every month. So if they don't do it, I'll just do it anyway.
I hope not.
Could you imagine?
Shit.
I
I
mean,
mean,
right now, we don't know because there's another event coming in like 2 days, and for all we know, it's Kid Omega 2 in there, and it's 10,000 charms.
wait, there's another event coming?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
I'm still rank 95 though.
Well, good luck with that shit.
I got a couple weeks. It's fine.
Yeah, you do. But yeah, like there's another event coming, Sanctum Showdown, and I guess like I don't want to spend a million hours on this podcast rehashing what everyone already knows about how I feel about Kid Omega. It's a stupid ass decision for them to have a card that cannot be attained in any way other than spending money. Just a stupid ass decision to do it. If you're going to put a card in a game mode, you can even be like a little more rapacious about it as long as it is technically possible to get free to play. I don't think anyone's going to be mad. But
Hold up.
hmm,
Is this not roughly the equivalent of like the free to play person complaining about Sam Wilson? Where it's
I
just
think
like
it's
you
similar.
can you can get it for tokens, you just have to wait a month and there might be some folks on ladder who are whales who are going to beat you to death with the card.
And
I think it's way different. It's not just like $10 you get it, right? It's worse than that for sure. But it doesn't strike me as too dissimilar.
philosophically, I don't think it's dissimilar. But I think the issue is largely one of A, perception, and B, one is a good deal and one is a bad deal. And I think that
Yeah,
is a
and
fundamental issue.
but I bring this up more so in the hopes of altering perception somewhat.
Mm.
Where granted, you know what the deal is with the season pass. It's been like that almost since the game's inception. They didn't have season passes immediately, but very quickly thereafter, right? And it has been that way for forever. This is the first time this has happened. Expectations were not set very well. I not that I think that would have been a good solution or made it any better or whatever for us to have been like, oh hey, just a heads up, you're kind of getting boned here.
Yeah,
Um,
we'll get to that because like their statement only addressed their failure of expectation setting and then none of the rest of it. And it's like, guys, that makes it sound like you don't know that the rest of this is a failure too.
yeah, my friend my friend Nick sent me a text that was like, this is like the message you send to the CEO to explain why people are mad, not the one you
Yeah.
send out to the public. And I was like,
Yep.
yeah, no, that's correct. Yeah.
This is I'm covering my ass to my boss, not like one of the things that's really bugging me is it doesn't really feel like they're willing to sit down and level with the community and say, look, we have a bunch of cards that we want to release and we want you to pay for some of them. And we can only do one card a week if you're paying in tokens. So we're going to look for other places to release cards and have you pay for them. And they just don't even seem willing to level with the community and even just tell people that.
Yeah, but literally nobody does that.
It might not hurt.
Who does that? Who does that? No one does
Who puts themselves in this situation where that would be required? Like, I don't really think
every goddamn mobile company of all time.
I guess. I don't know. I sort of feel like their statement was terrible, but like I said, we'll table that discussion and get back to what you were saying earlier.
Yeah, I just think that even in a world where the Kid Omega stuff is what it is, where you do have to pay some amount of money on top, in addition to like waiting out the 2 weeks to finish the event and see how many volts you can grind and all that stuff, which is pretty annoying. But I don't think it is that dissimilar from the season pass. And also, this is like a fairly niche card too. It's not like this. It is niche. You can't tell me it's not niche.
I mean, it is, but it's really good.
Sure. I'm not saying it's a weak card. I am just saying that compared to something like Sam Wilson, Gwenpool, sure, Galacta, like card that you are going to want if you want to play a Marvel Snap deck, then yeah, like you can afford to just wait on this one for a month. It's fine. That's what I'm doing. I mean, I feel like I am certainly in a more privileged position than most players, considering that I am full collection or whatever, but
yeah. Well, not anymore.
Well, not anymore, but I mean, I will be, you know.
But like I think the thing is, it's not just doing the same thing, it's the idea that more of this will be happening, right? People have mostly, if you've been playing Marvel Snap long enough, you've made your peace with the season pass, because how the hell else would you exist, right? If you objected to the season pass, you'd have left by now. But
constantly angry.
Right, that also works. But when you add a second thing like this Kid Omega right here, and then you add a third thing like this,
it's an Omega.
Yes, like Fantasticar next month. And suddenly there's 3 cards that you can't get without paying. And it's like, I don't think they appreciate that the Battle Pass is like a one-off. That's not a well you can go back to realistically, I feel like. Without running into this friction where it's like, suddenly you're looking at triple the amount of cards that are beating your ass that you can't get. And that is like,
I thought we just kind of solved that problem, or like took steps towards solving that problem.
That's exactly the problem. They did.
Yeah.
And then they like okay, wind it back with this.
Yeah, I know. It's one step forward, 2 steps back somehow.
It's unbelievable because like they just moved towards a system where players have more agency and control over the cards they get. And now they're like, well, now that players have more agency, we have to monetize their control over the cards they get. It's like, please don't do this. Like, I just, like, there is a limit to how much people will tolerate. And this player base, it clearly seems to me that the limit is you can get away with the Battle Pass. You might be able to get away with the Premium Pass. You cannot get away with all 3 of those things. Each one of them is not just +1, it is ×2. It is exponential how bad it feels the more of those there are.
Dear Second Dinner, it is I, the friendly whale. The mobile card game whale.
Mm-hmm.
It's me. Okay. For every card game I've played on mobile, I've spent probably $8,000 because I want to own your cards. I want to play your game. I want to have the experiences that you have so graciously offered me. And I feel like, yeah, the more you do this kind of stuff, the worse it is. The more likely I am to bounce off, especially when, if for high voltage, you simply had daily missions, not missions that required me to log in every 8 hours and do 3 of them in order to still then fall short of acquiring the card. That is insult to injury. I feel like if all it was daily quests, maybe there's 5 of them or something, and they're just there for 24 hours. You give people ample time and they still fall a little bit short. Whatever. I think people will probably be okay with it. But like, that is the thing that really gets me, where I'm like, you're telling me I need to log in every 8 hours. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do that. I'm going to hate you for telling me to do that. It's bad enough that the games train you to log in on the daily, right?
Agreed.
Go to the web shop daily.
I don't even do that. It's 200 free credits every day, and I do not do it.
Yeah, 200's a lot. I'm trying to do it for that, but I miss days, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's only so much you can ask of your players. And if you're asking them to log in every 8 goddamn hours and then still not get the thing, they have every right to be pissed at you.
Yep. That's sort of where I'm at, where it's like, I can see philosophically how they got to this point, right? I can see them going down the same road you went down. Oh, it's not that different from the Battle Pass, whatever. It's a cool card. People are going to want it. I also think that, like, there's just a fundamental flaw with the pay to discount model, though. And that is, like, beyond just the issues that we've talked about in the context of, oh, okay, I have to log on every 8 hours and I still don't get the fucking card, right? Outside of that, what it does is create sticker shock. What it does is make people math out, oh, how many games do I have to play to get this card? Oh, it's fucking 500. I'm not doing that. How much gold do I have to spend? Oh, it's 9,000. I'm not doing that. So even if you have what amounts to a good deal at the end of the day, let's say you get Kid Omega for the price of a super rare variant because you did all of this stuff. That amounts to a good deal, but that only becomes apparent 8 days in. And it's like,
yeah.
Fundamental perception flaw there is that the things you've done here have caused everyone to see the worst case scenario, because that's what the play to discount model creates. You have a perception problem on top of a fundamentals problem. Like, even if, let's say you could get, let's say Kid Omega came with like a bunch of credits in gold, right? Similar to the Battle Pass. And it was the same price.
Yeah.
Let's say all of that is true. People would still have this reaction the same way if you had to play to earn the privilege of buying the goddamn Battle Pass.
Yeah.
Don't
give them any idea.
It's just, I don't know how to explain to them. And as someone who is in the content creator forums, I have tried to get this across, where it's just like, the Battle Pass is grandfathered in. You cannot do pay to discount or play to discount anymore. You can't do this. And I feel like rationally, when they look at it, they're like, well, why can't we? Who says? Who says we can't do it, What do you mean we can't do it? You guys accept it for the Battle Pass. How is this so different, right? And it's like, I can't express properly how and why it is different beyond it just fucking is. I'm sorry. Like, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but clearly you can see from everything that's happened, it is different. It is fundamentally different. Something should not cost your time and money no matter what. There should be a trade-off between the two, but it shouldn't be both.
It is generally one or the other in a lot of these games. It's like you can pay to skip, or you can play to get the thing. And very few games I've ever played across like multiple genres have been like play a bunch and then also like,
yeah, you have earned the privilege of a discount. What are we talking about? Like,
it's crazy.
Like, what are we talking about? It is just such an on its face insulting thing, where it's like, it is insulting in a way that the Battle Pass is not, because that's a square deal. Where it's like, oh, okay, here's the offer, this is the price, take it or leave it. The variable price here, and the fact that it's not immediately clear that you can't do this if you're plugged in. There's going to be a bunch of people that are going to have 35,000 volts at the end of this and be like, oh shit, I can't get Kid Omega. I don't even know if like they've had all the hits that are going to happen from this.
Yeah. And then it's like, what? Oh, for sale in the shop, there is a Series 4 card that is pretty bad. And a bunch of borders that you have determined are so useless that I can buy infinite of them if I want to.
Yeah, it's just
That's
like what's different about this and the Battle Pass is that one of them is exchanging money for a service, right? You're exchanging money for goods. The other one is insulting to both your time and money. It is insulting to your time and to your money. And I think that insult is largely the issue that people have. Where it's like, nobody else does this. Why the hell do you think you have to do this? I don't care if it's a good deal after I do all the stuff. It is fundamentally insulting to me as a consumer of this product.
Wait, I might be wrong. I was trying to think of if there was anything that was like, oh, play for a discount. And I think Crunchyroll did this with the Street Fighter game and got completely blasted. But this is like my first time playing like a Crunchyroll mobile game. And then reading up on it, it was like, oh, they are insanely predatory. Like you go to their website and they're like, here are our mobile games. And it is just 5 games that they had out for a year, did like the most absurd sort of like cash grabby maneuvers, and then just end of service the game immediately. And then the one game that they had going still. And then someone brought this up on Reddit, made a post about it, and then they immediately removed those 5 things from their like, oh, here are our mobile games.
The classic.
But then they walked it back. It was like, oh, you do all this stuff and then you still have to pay premium currency to get it was like this Dark Ken character or whatever. But then they ended up giving like a copy or 2 to everyone for free. But it was still not a playable thing to have unless you had like 8 copies of it. Gotcha. So it was even still ridiculous. But I guess technically, yeah, they did do the same thing where it was like, oh, play a bunch and then you get like 50 of 60 of the things that you need to cash in for one of the guy.
It's just like, the thing is, like, when you really break it down, the fundamentals of this event are not necessarily more insulting than the fundamentals of any mobile game, right? Like, when you talk about pay to or play to get a discount, right? Like, it is me playing Genshin, running around getting primo gems out of chests. That's playing to get a discount. It is. I'm using that to get a discount on the next 10 roll I roll, right? Like, that is that. But there is a reason that game companies obfuscate this so heavily. Like, there is a reason that there is a science of obfuscating all of this, and it is to not make it obvious that you are doing this, because if you make it obvious to people, they will be insulted. And the message I want Second Dinner to take away from this is not find a better way to hide this, but like, it couldn't fucking hurt.
It couldn't hurt, and at least running around Genshin and doing the treasure quest stuff or treasure chest stuff is like kind of fun, you know, like that is part of the game.
It's the normal gameplay of the game as opposed to whatever this is.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, here's a new area, or like here's a patch, right? Here are some quests, here's a new area, and then people can do the math on like how many gems you can get for free during that patch.
Yeah.
Like people do this every time so that you know like how many patches you are going to have to like do all the content and save in order to like guarantee whatever character in the future that you want.
And I think that like they keep doing this thing where they really sort of throw it in the player base's face that they need to soak you a little bit more. You know, like it's just like, I feel like it would have been better if they started releasing 2 cards a week as opposed to doing something like this. Just straight up.
I could see that.
Like,
I mean, especially if that came with more agency in terms of which cards you were going to acquire.
we have tons of agency on it right now. But like, yeah, let's say they release 2 cards a week and drop the price of a Series 5 pack to 4,500 and drop the price of a Series 5 card to 5,000, right? That's a very plus EV move for them, and it would still feel better than this, I think.
I think it would too. I mean, I guess my question is, like, I get that, you know, games and companies want to make money, and they should, for the most part, be trying to think of ways to make more money, not just maintain the status quo. And I imagine that there is some residual bleed off of the player base just in general. Like, there are going to be some people who inevitably come back for one reason or another, but I would imagine for the most part, the player base is like a steady decline. And so you have to do stuff to make up for that somehow. Is this the best way to go about doing it? I don't think so.
I think it might be the worst way. I think if you look at like how this event hits, like with the sticker shock, with the fundamental premise being so insulting you can only compare it to Crunchyroll cash grabs, like, I think it might literally be the worst way. It probably would have been better if they were just like, we're releasing a second card. It's Kid Omega. It costs 6,000 tokens. Go buy it. There are 2 cards coming out this week. Good luck. Keep catching up. Keep doing it. Like, we're gonna release 3 extra Series 5 cards next month. Each one of them is at full price. Deal. That is not as big of a crisis as this. Genuinely.
I don't know. It's hard to say. I think part of what I think is the problem with this is at least the messaging is clear on the thing that you're talking about.
Yes, at least they're just like we got a lot more cards to make and we got to put them somewhere.
Like, we got a lot of ideas for cool cards. I think people would be receptive to that. They'd be like, yes! Oh, yeah, we like cool cards.
Yes. Like I don't understand why things have to be more heavily monetized instead of them just making more things. Like, they did all this stuff where it was like, okay, we are going to make more cards. And then they put all of those cards in free-to-play earnable events. And it's like, okay, what is the point of you guys making these more cards if you're just going to do that every time? How does that help you? Like, doesn't that seem so weird that they're like, okay, we need to monetize this guy now? And it's like, why didn't you try to monetize any of the other 10 cards you released?
Well, I mean, it's got to start somewhere, and I guess it is starting here.
I guess, but it's just like when you think about the things that went wrong here, like if Kid Omega was purchasable for tokens, right? Like, if for whatever reason their internal math on developing a game mode is such that it is unaffordable for them if people are able to spend tokens on Kid Omega, which seems crazy to me. That seems like an impossibility, but who the hell knows? I would question how the hell you got there. Like, that would be my question.
Yeah, I mean, there are many things that I can think of where it's like, oh, I would maybe be willing to spend just direct money on this, you know, but they are things that they are not offering me. So it is kind of weird to then do things like this where it is just like, I refuse to engage in this and I'll just simply wait a month or whatever it takes. 2 months.
It's you remember the Nexus event model where it was like $100 card and then you'd get it for free in 2 months? Yep. This is $100 card. You can play to get it to a discount, and then you get it for full price in 1 month. Like, what are we doing, dude? Like, it's just not... It's just not anything that makes sense. And like, if
But
they're looking,
you were chained up to a machine where you must play high voltage every 8 hours.
can we
Roughly
talk
10
about
games of high voltage overdrive
can we talk
to
about
complete your quest in order to get a discount.
one of the quests, by the way, not completable. One where you have to play 35 charged cards, resets if you ever have a game where you don't play a charged card, which is bad enough, but also that counts games outside of the game mode. So if you're at like 30 out of 35, you go play a normal game of Marvel Snap, you're not playing a charged card, reset your quests. This is where I wanted to get into the 2,500 volts that they sent out, which is an insultingly low number. And I would call it low even for the bugs in the game mode. Like, I would say 2,500 is on the low end, ignoring all of the furor about Kid Omega. There are animations that take 10 minutes. That's an exaggeration. I don't want to exaggerate.
Well, another fun thing that my friend Nick shared with me was that the chimichangas went off when he had a mockingbird in his hand.
Oh, yeah, that'll take forever. Every single one counts. And it's like, that's broken. The quest is broken, and they're asking you to pay premium prices for that. You know what I mean? That's some of this dissonance, right? Where it's like, I played a game of Marvel Snap yesterday, and it just ended. It was like, you have a bug. Your game reached a bug, and I had to shut down. And so I queued up another game, and I couldn't retreat. I had the retreat bug from there, and I had to restart the client, and I lost 4 SP or whatever. And it's like, I'm supposed to pay $100 for a card in this game, in a game mode that doesn't work properly.
No, you did though.
I did.
You did pay $100.
I did. Actually, technically, I paid more than $100 because I donated the proceeds of that video. So just a very expensive card for me. But that's what I think people are running up against. Is when you break down all of the things that went wrong here, it's hard to stack rank them because they're cumulative. Is it the biggest problem in the world that there were bugs that they weren't very generous about compensating with? No, probably not. Is it the biggest problem in the world that Kid Omega's pricing scheme is the way it is? I mean, yes, that is actually the proximate cause here. That is number one on the list, but I can see how you could argue, it's not that dissimilar to the Battle Pass, all of that stuff. You still have the sticker shock issue, but that is still there. It's just, they've normally been really good about compensation. They're currently in the process of compensating people who farmed the reward track on the web shop by using VPNs to go get gold for $2 that costs $200. They're in the process of giving people their earned web shop rewards that they earned by doing something that got them suspended from the game until it could get rolled back. And they're not compensating the larger player base more than 2,500 volts for serious bugs in this game mode that impact your ability to acquire this card.
2,500 volts ain't even a border, dog.
It's
nothing beyond night.
I just don't understand. Where did Second Dinner go? The one thing you've always been able to say for this company is how generous they were with compensation. It is the one thing. And I almost feel like what's happening is they're not putting their foot down here, but they're letting the furor over Kid Omega sort of trick them into thinking that it's just irrational actors. And so they're being less generous than they would because they don't want to reward it or something. And it's like, guys, you should have given out 7,500 volts just for the bugs. Just for the bugs, you should have given out 7,500 volts. What are you doing?
Here's the
Fix
thing.
them also.
Continue.
Oh, no, it was just you aren't even going to fix the bugs in the game mode. They're still there as we're recording this, right? You still can't do that quest. It's still bad. And
that's really dumb.
Yeah, and it's okay, so you're not going to fix the bugs, and you're not going to compensate people for the bugs in a reasonable amount, in my humble opinion. What happened? They've always been good about that. Genuinely. Not about fixing bugs, but at least about compensating.
I mean, there was a time when you didn't get comp for anything, though. Like, they have been generous with comp lately, but there was a very long period where you did not get comp for anything.
I don't really recall it that way. What do you mean? What are you referring to?
I don't know. Maybe this is like me going back to like day 0 or whatever of the game's release, and just like when cards get nerfed or whatever, like, is there going to be any sort of comp kind of thing, right? And they're just like, yeah, like we don't know, we're thinking about it, whatever. And then it just was never, nothing. And it didn't matter if like you had just purchased the card or just bought it in a bundle for $100 or whatever. It was just icy veins, man. Like, that was it.
That is true. Like, I've always been like, they've been generous at compensation because I don't necessarily have that expectation. But if you have that expectation, it is definitely not fair to call them generous at compensation. When I talk about generous at compensation, I'm talking about, like, you remember when they had to like replace a Gambit variant? They like fully refunded the bundle. They once refunded a bundle for just having a mislabeled thing in the web shop. Like they have been very generous when people's money has been on the line previously in terms of like direct purchases. And it's just bonkers to me that you pick this time of all times to not be that.
Yeah, 2,500 is a silly number.
It's a silly number.
I don't know. Maybe that is the expectation of like how much you would lose by how often this quest shows up or whatever, but I don't know.
Maybe it is, but you should also be compensating the actual emotion that causes, right? Like, people play, right. Yeah, like it's not just like
I spent 10 hours trying to do this quest, you know, like that kind of thing.
Like, it's not just that, it's like you shipped the product that didn't work. You're supposed to be nice when you do that. Like, what are we talking about?
So, okay, this is what I think of all the time in these scenarios is like, we are hyper online, we're hyper invested, we're you know, in the community, in the Discords, on Reddit, looking at shit. We're like, what, 10% of the player base?
I don't know.
I am genuinely curious what the rest of the player base feels when they open up the game and it's like, oh, new mode, high voltage, but a little bit different, new card. And then they see the 50K and it's just like, what do they think about it? You know, I'm genuinely curious.
I have a fridge theory that a large, not like, I don't know why I said fridge theory. That's the wrong word for what I'm talking about. I have a theory in the back of my mind that a lot of this is genuinely sticker shock, and that what's going to happen as people start earning 30 and 40,000 volts down the back of it is they're going to look at Kid Omega and they're going to be like, that's a good deal. Like, I strongly suspect that many of the people, those who did not quit the game, obviously, who are like upset about this but still playing the mode, will get to that last day and they'll be like, man, that's not really that. They would charge me 2,400 gold for a Spotlight variant, and I can get a whole card for that. Like, I really do think that much of this is a perception problem. There is a it's not an unworkable system per se. I think it sucks and is bad, but they also managed to present it in the worst possible way. Does that make sense? Like, it's 99th percentile bad on a 99th percentile bad system. It's hard to do both.
Here's the other thing I wonder about is that, like, back in the day when I started, I was not super interested in a lot of the variants that they had.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, oh, I wanted like specifically one or two, but the other ones, it's just like, who cares? Could take it or leave it. And now things are a little bit different. There are definitely variants in the game that I like, but I just had this gold from stuff, right? And it was like, what do I do with this? Because I don't want to spend it on the variants. And there's nothing else I can really do except like buy credits or like buy missions to get credits to further the reward track, maybe unlock more cards, whatever. So like I was just doing that with my gold. What does that other portion of the player base do with their gold? I mean, presumably they are buying variants, especially now when there's a pretty big variety of stuff. But it's like, do you think that there are folks who are just, as soon as they get 1200, like something shows up in the shop, they just snap it off?
Yes.
Or are there people who just have like, 10K just chilling, and it's like Kid Omega is not a big deal to them?
I think almost nobody has 10K just chilling. There are going to be vastly more tokens in circulation than there are gold, which is part of one of the issues that this event had, where it's like, everyone has these tokens because tokens are the currency for cards, and you're like, actually, we're going to use gold. And here's the other thing.
You know what? That is maybe the best argument I've heard, is that why the hell does it take gold instead of tokens?
Because that's more profitable for them, right? Like, that's the answer. Because people have a bunch of tokens and they don't have a bunch of gold. There's 3,000 tokens on the collection track every so many levels. There's not 3,000 gold. It's like, that's the only answer I can come up with.
Yeah, I hate that.
Yeah,
that's
bad.
The part I hate.
Yep.
That's the part I hate.
Yep. And like when you talk about the things they could have done that could have made this better, there's like a million of them. Make it discount from the token price. Easy. If I'm getting a Series 5 card for Series 4 prices, I feel fucking great about the effort I put in here. I feel fucking great about it.
For sure.
If you could have reduced the exclusivity period, right? Kid Omega, maybe it releases, maybe there's like a 1 week and then it comes out in another week. Okay, that's fine. That's like, if Kid Omega released the day after High Voltage ended, nobody would be mad about this. So there's clearly a number between that number and the number they picked that would reduce the amount reasonably.
To be fair, I think regardless of what they choose to do, there needs to be an exclusivity period, because otherwise the event is meaningless. And I would hope that that goes hand in hand with a thing that does not make people irrationally mad. I guess not irrationally, but, like just absurdly mad, I guess. Because otherwise, like, what's the point? What's the point of all of it? So that should not be a good solution to me. It should be like, make that period matter, but also make this card actually accessible for people to some degree. I mean,
it doesn't even have, like, this is the other thing, right? I think about it a lot, like, just how different this could have been if they took 10% or 5% off the price. Like, let's say they take 10% off the price, 45,000. It's technically not free-to-play attainable, but it is very, very close. You probably get about 41, 42.
It's not a very round, clean number, though.
Okay, 40,000.
Now, obviously, you could just change how many volts you give per day, or you could still make it 50K and just
like it's just
plus 50
just
a day or something.
Like, what you want to do with a game mode like this, to me, is to put the card on the very edge of attainable. If you do everything, you will get this free to play. And guess what's going to happen is no one's going to fucking do everything because they're not logging on every 8 hours. Like, it's just not happening, right?
I think logging on every 8 hours, like that being the ask, and then you still not getting the thing for free is insane.
Yes. And so it's like, of the things they could have done, like, let's say the goal was put it just tantalizingly out of reach. They overshot by a pretty massive amount. It's not tantalizingly out of reach. It's like $20 out of reach. That's not tantalizing to a free-to-play player. That's like again, like we talk about this like it's a principles issue, but it's also a numbers issue. That's 2 season passes out of reach. What are we doing here? Like, what are we talking about? It's just, the principle is bad, the execution is bad, the presentation is bad. Not a single thing about this was handled well.
They did give you some volts.
Yeah, 2,500, baby. Let's go. Also, it didn't help that this is happening during the middle of their transition period, which apparently means they can't do Twitch drops, which, like, maybe that was good, because it didn't get people going to the Twitch streams where everyone was yelling about how much this sucked. Maybe that paid off for them.
Remember, was it Sanctum Showdown when they had, like, surprise Twitch drops?
Yeah, when they absolutely beefed the implementation and accidentally gave everyone 3 free cards. Yeah, I remember that.
I wonder how much that kind of borked them, because that did set perception and expectation for these sorts of events, right?
I honestly, as a creator, I just want them to do something I can reasonably defend. If the next Sanctum Showdown shop comes out and it is, like, harder to get cards and the Twitch drops don't count, it's like, yeah, I can defend that. I can see why you would do that. That's a reasonable, rational thing to do. If it comes out and there's another Kid Omega in that, I can't defend that. It sucks. It's bad. And it's like, I just don't think that, I don't know. I don't know how valuable the creators are, but as much as my life is blessed and I'm very lucky to be able to do what I do, here's a woe is me segment. This is so bad for every creator. This is basically a nuke to creators. It is very bad because it puts every creator in the position of trying to figure out what they can say without pissing off the people that make their game. And I would say all this to them, you know? Like, this is not something I'm embarrassed to say. But it also puts us in a situation of our audience clearly feels a certain way. And when the audience clearly feels a certain way, there's a financial incentive for you to feel the same way. And I'm not going to sit here and say, I am only saying what I'm saying because there's a financial incentive to feel the same way. But what I am saying is, they have given a financial incentive to all their creators to not defend them. Why the fuck would you do that? What in the shit? Yeah. Why would you, as a company, create a situation where the biggest voices in your community are incentivized to shit on you? Why would you do that?
Well, look, man, you're thinking like it's 20 big brain executives in a room talking about how they want to roll out this event, and realistically it's just a bunch of small decisions that, you know, just end up compounding on each other and making the situation worse. This was not anyone's giant plan or lack of planning or whatever. It was just, hey, we got to do some shit this month. Let's do this, you know?
And there was just nobody internally that was like, you know, you can't do that, right? It's just like no one to be like, that's a line that you should not cross or can't cross even.
No, I mean, like, if anything, this is the sort of thing where it should be a learning experience for them. Like, this is an opportunity to definitely take away some stuff in terms of like how to implement these things and how much care to put in them, because people will get mad about it.
It does sort of feel like they just dashed this one off. You know what I mean? Like, 2 events. There's a lot of stuff going on. We're going public. You know, a lot of moving parts. Oh my God, there's so much happening. And then the event gets shipped and they just didn't really expect it to be like this.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. I feel like that's the Occam's razor of everything with, you know, any sort of company, is just like no one is looking at, or no one is like really involved in every step of the process, right? Like, it is very much a hierarchical structure, and like one person is focusing on like one unique thing individually. It's like, okay, I am the person who is deciding what the missions are or whatever, right? And then just a couple links in that chain, some mistakes were made, and it just ends up being a shit show.
Who the hell came up with 50K? Like, that's the person I would like to talk to. It's a nice round number. Who the
Nice round
hell
number.
did the math and was like 50K? I think that if this is not part of their process, they need to every single time do math on, like, they need to do the math that Lauren Whatevs would do on card acquisition every time it comes out.
Yeah, I think so too.
And then be like,
certainly,
how does this make us look?
Certainly do the things that your player base does in terms of like how they look at things. Like, they have already given you the roadmap to what their reaction is going to be, where it's like, okay, every time something happens, we math it out this way.
Yep.
And then if it breaks in this direction, we are pretty happy about it. If it breaks the other direction, we are like this much mad about it. Like, you should know exactly how people are going to react at this point.
And it just feels like you can't arrive at that 50K number without, and like, you can't arrive at that 50K number and then be surprised at the reaction. Like,
I think so too. And
yeah,
that's my question, is like whether or not they did. It was like a thing that was done maliciously.
Yeah, no, like, that's what I mean, where it's like, I think they just genuinely didn't do that math. Like, I think this is very likely that someone was just like, yeah, 50K, that makes sense. And then like someone else is probably looking at it like, huh, that seems a little high. I don't know. And then they don't process that it's a big deal.
Yeah, what hill are you gonna die on when you work in a company? You know, you think 50K is high, but it's just like, is this worth going to bat over? Probably not. I don't know. Like, someone just maybe threw the number out there. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's just like, I feel like, I guess ultimately what that sort of highlights is like the player base feels a lack of care, whether that be in stuff like this, in the responses they give to stuff like this, in the bugs, in the compensation for the bugs. The player base feels a lack of care. And I understand I exist in a privileged space among the player base. I don't necessarily feel that the same way. But because I can zoom out and look at this objectively, I can say it's a very rational thing to feel right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is lack of care either way. Either if you just like threw a number out, or if it was like, we know that everyone is going to have to pay for this.
Yeah.
And we are happy about that.
Like, even if it is that, though, like, 50K is still too high. That's what I mean. Like, even if that is what you're doing, the 50K number is still ridiculous.
I don't know what their numbers tell them in terms of like how many people are logging on every 8 hours and doing all their missions. It's like that. If that number is in double digits of percent, I am shocked.
Agree. Although I do suppose it matters, like, if that number is in double digits of percent of people who would otherwise spend the money, right? Because your highly invested people are the ones who are the most likely to spend the money if they can't get it. So, you know, right? Soak the whales. Soak me. I got soaked, you know?
I don't think about it too much. Do some missions when I log on. Buy some borders. Kid Omega doesn't exist. It can't hurt me.
Yeah. I think it's probably also time to talk about the card, which is quite good.
Well, the funny part about all this is that because there's a mode that is asking so much of me, I am not playing on ladder. And especially if I have the mission, they're telling me to not play on ladder. And I guess we're going into just another mode. So yeah, Kid Omega just doesn't exist. I don't know what y'all are mad about.
Did you see that people were getting alliance missions to play with Kid Omega that were then telling them you don't own Kid Omega?
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Did you know that happens?
Hey, broke ass. Yeah. Hey, broke ass.
Hey, what's up, poor boy? I've been doing a lot of jokes recently that revolve around the picture of Paris Hilton wearing the "Stop Being Poor" t-shirt.
Yeah. Oh, well, we gave everyone in your guild this mission, but since none of you own the card, we changed your guild name to Bitch Made.
That actually reminds me, I've been meaning to do this for like 2 weeks. I'm changing my guild name, which is basically at this point a vanity plate for like me and like Big Baby, to the Unction. We've established that like I'm over 30. I've achieved Unk status And I just like to, welcome everyone to the unction. That's sort of where we're gonna be. Yeah, that's where I'm at on this. It really does feel like, I don't know how best to phrase it. It feels like I'm retired. I hit rank 1. This is all happening. I wish there was a way to know you were in the good old days before you knew they were the good old days, Like, that's, like, it just sort of feels like, damn,
I don't know. I think I felt it when I was like in the trenches, right?
Yeah.
Different hotel ballroom every weekend, or like American Legion basement, just grinding it out. I love that shit, and I knew that I was in it.
Yeah.
And now, I feel retired as hell. I am out to pasture.
Yeah, you and me you can join me in the unction. We have like 12 open spots because we never do our quests.
I watched a pro tour this weekend, which is certainly not
the
first time that happened.
My boy Jerking Off Motion got second.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
No. Ian is sick.
What a king.
He is super good. Dude, he's 6-0 limited. Like, he's a goat.
For those who are unaware, this is Ian Robb. He got disqualified from a Pokemon tournament for doing a jerking off motion at the camera.
Top 8 of Worlds after he won his match.
Yes, he did a jerking off motion at the camera and instantly became my favorite card game player on the planet.
And then he was like, "Well, I guess I'm gonna go play this magic thing.
I'm gonna go to the game where they let you do the jerking off motion after you win." Yeah.
Wins an RCQ, queues for the RC, goes to the RC, top 8s, plays his first pro tour, top 8s, plays his second pro tour, makes the finals. loses to Ken Yukihiro, who has 7 top 8s before this. This is his 8th. And there are a lot of jokes about how, like, oh, he's really good. He's got a bunch of top 8s, but he's never won one. You would think that, like, the math just works out. Like, you would win 1 in 8. There are 8 people in top 8. If you're fortunate enough to make top 8 times,
he mathed it.
Surely you should win one.
Yep.
And Ken destroyed him, 3-0'd him in the finals. Was, just talking about how he's like the best mono red player in the world or whatever, just hamming it up, really, because Ken is awesome.
I have nothing but respect for my GOAT. There could not have been a better finals as a mono red player myself.
Yeah, and Ken wins 3-0, also wins with his Miser's copy of Self-Destruct, which is a new card from the Final Fantasy set. This is Pro Tour Final Fantasy.
Please continue.
And Ian is very gracious in defeat, and Ken, this means a lot to him. Like, he, I think, for example, like when they stopped the Pro Tour Hall of Fame voting, he had 4 top 8s, which was close to being good enough to get in, but 5 would like lock you, right? So he's like not in the Hall of Fame or anything.
Yeah.
And like continued to make top 8s, but has not won anything. And then finally wins and just takes a moment to like sob a little bit. Like, it's very emotional for him. And Ian is just like, he's just like sitting there. He's just, cool with them. And then Ken composes himself and he's like, sorry for the emotion. Right. And Ian's like, nah, man, you should be happy. Like, this means a lot. So Ian's good in my book for sure.
I just feel like he should have hit the jerking off motion.
And Ken comes out of it and he's just like,
yeah, like Ken is crying and Ian's just like looking at the camera.
No, so he didn't do it to the camera. I think he did it to like his friend in the audience.
Sure.
And they just caught him on camera.
I just like I feel like I sound like I'm making fun of him, but I think that the people that disqualified for him for that are bitch made. Like, I think that is awesome. I just straight up.
It's Pokemon, it's Nintendo,
yeah,
it's
I get it.
I
get it. But also, I don't think he'd get disqualified for that in Magic.
He might.
You think so? You think he can do a jerking? I don't know. The point is, shout out Ian Robb.
Different times.
I hate that he's, I mean, like, you tell me all these stories from dudes on the Pro Tour back in the day just being the worst sort of degenerates 100% of the time, and now you can't get away with a jerking off motion. Cancel culture's run amok, Gerry. It's...
I mean, for all these stories I tell you, though, I'm like, that guy should be in jail.
That's what I mean, though.
Like, he should be on a list. And you're just like, oh, what? You're gonna DQ someone for doing the jerking off motion? I'm like, yeah, you should do that probably. I don't know, but like,
I thought this was America.
They should have done shit to these other guys. It's bad that they didn't. That's kind of why these stories are funny.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know. It's just like I don't know. But long story short, I hate that I'm introducing people to Ian Robb as the jerking off motion guy, because I feel like that's insulting to him.
He's really fucking talented. That's what
good.
He is.
Like, he's so fucking good. But that is unfortunately that was his star turn for me. What's the jerking off motion?
I do wish kids these days. Am I right? But like, I wish that there was a little bit more respect for the game and like trying to keep a cleaner board state and whatnot. Because I just watch coverage now and it's just like cards all over the place. Like, what the hell is a graveyard? What's an exile? You know, just like,
I feel like they do that on purpose. I feel like they're angle shooting. I'm not even joking.
Nah, people are just weird. I feel like everyone's just like an online alien.
Yeah, that is true.
Or like, I played 90% of my Magic has been on Arena or whatever, and then you put physical cards in there. But he played Pokemon at a high level.
I cannot play a game of Magic. Like, without, like, any card game, I'm very good at card games. If you put the physical shit in my hand, my land piles will look like dog shit. Like, I will have, like, this is an island, this is a swamp, this is a duel, and then I'll have, like, oh, this duel is also in my island column. Like, it's terrible. Yeah. It's so bad.
I mean, to be clear, I guess, like, Ian is cleaner than most of the people, but still a little loose.
They should hook him up with Team Handshake next PT.
Why? Oh, I get it. No, he should make a new team. Slot secret handshake.
He should sell a t-shirt with like the image of a hand rolling dice on it.
Oh yeah. That's good.
I would buy the shit out of that. I would buy it's like, I believe that was what he said it was. It wasn't a jerking off motion, it was like, I'm rolling dice. I believe. I don't know for sure.
That might be right, but it is certainly what it looked like.
I don't know. There are some cultural connotations here, but yeah, like I don't want him to be the jerking off motion guy. I just want him to monetize it heavily. Like, I think at the very least he should make money off of this.
No, that's some talk to a shit. And dude, I think he's doing okay.
Yeah, well, he just won a bunch of money playing Magic. Okay, sure, fine. But
yeah, I mean, he's up like 30K so far. Like,
has he done a crypto rug pull on Dice Roll Coin? Okay.
Yeah.
Get your money, King.
Yep.
Fucking shit. I genuinely do think it is crazy to watch all the Zoomers just be good at Magic now. Like, they're the veterans. The Zoomers are the vets now. And then the, like, even younger kids are gonna, like, show up and start just beating the shit out of them soon. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're making a face. You don't think it's gonna happen?
Maybe one of these days I'll have some energy. And, like, the will to want to, like, go to a tournament and beat people up.
I
got it.
Everyone in Magic is complaining about the metagame because the top 8 was, like, all Monstrous Rage decks. Just like 4 mono red, which to me is the perfect metagame. Fuck all of you. Like, it should actually be 8 mono red. Get the fuck out. But I do want to, like, I realize we've just spent, like, 40 minutes of this podcast complaining about second dinner. I want to just, like, on Marvel Snap subject, metagame is amazing right now. Like, it's actually really funny how good the metagame is and how mad everyone is at everything other than the metagame.
I wouldn't know. I haven't played a ladder game in 2 weeks.
Yeah, you've been a slave to high voltage. You just you log on and you do what they tell you.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just play RSM every game effectively.
What do you think about the game mode? I feel like it's better than normal high voltage, but only because I think normal high voltage is turbo ass.
I think it is cool to be able to. Okay, so high voltage to me is like you see a thing in Slay the Spire, like some sort of comp. And to be clear, I've never played Slay the Spire, but like you keep doing runs until you're able to like accomplish the thing and like do the silly combo or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what high voltage was to me. And then this is just like, well, you can't really do anything. It's not consistent at all. So you just put in a bunch of cards that are like maybe kind of good that work in the game mode. And I don't know, I feel like you are mostly just playing RSM. It is just like a bunch of random shit, and that's fine enough. It is definitely not enough to get me to log on 3 times a day and continue to play it. Like that's the thing, is just it does not have that much replayability to where it is still novel. And especially if this is going to be a thing that comes back, you can't ask me to do it this much.
I think the thing about all the game modes is that much like the smiley face, frowny face being influenced by did you win or did you lose on Arena, I think people are fully unable to distinguish when a game mode helps them with card acquisition from the actual game mode being fun. And I don't just mean old high voltage had a card in it and it was easy to get that card. I mean, it was also a pseudo-casual mode where you could play Marvel Snap without feeling like you were risking your rank. It was a place for you to do your quests and do your dailies without feeling like you were risking your rank. Again, that's economic. That's an economic benefit. And I just don't think people are good enough at splitting that from the gameplay. I enjoyed High Voltage, the event, sure. But the overwhelming top 2 reasons people are going to say they enjoyed High Voltage, the event, is the free stuff and the fact that you could play the game in a casual way. Those are the 2 things. And those are fundamentally economic. And
I mean, those are the long-term things, but like the novelty of the game mode is, I think, the thing that gets people initially, you know?
maybe. I just like I have long been of the opinion that you could serve up Marvel Snap players a pile of shit if they got a good card at the end of it.
Well, that's definitely true.
Yeah, if they're putting a bunch of effort into these game modes, stop. Put way less effort into the game mode and way more effort into the shop, because that's what people are going to give a shit about.
I want them, even if it is just like out of scarcity, to make things cooler. Like the Neon Knights cardboarder, for example. I think we only had one of them previously, and maybe you could have gotten another one in a bundle or something, but now it's just like, okay, you can just buy infinite. It's like, that's stupid. Make it a little cheaper, buy one. And then if it shows up later, it's more likely that someone is going to want to buy it then. But everything in the shop is like, okay, here's Kid Omega that you just can't buy, and then a bunch of stuff that you can buy infinite times because it's all garbage. At least make me think like, oh, I'm getting one cool thing here or whatever, you know? I have 8,000 volts or something. I'm like, I could just spend it on nonsense, and it's like doing my dailies in any sort of gacha game. It's just like, did my account meaningfully improve? No. Like some numbers in my inventory went up, but it's all useless.
Here's my question. Would anything have been taken away from this shop if they added 40,000 volts Series 5 card? Random?
Yes, I think it would have been the people who do everything in theory, if those people even do exist. I don't think they do. And you end up with like 43,000. There are going to be some people who then weigh the cost of, do I just blow my 40K here or do I spend $20?
I suppose. But at the same time, that's someone who is not getting Kid Omega now that then has to purchase Kid Omega later. And they're blowing their 40,000 on a less premium product. They're blowing their 40,000 on effectively a random Series 5 pull, which is 4,000 tokens, and then locking in buying Kid Omega at either 5 or 6. I feel like there's literally no reason not to do that. I feel like there is nothing I can come up with that would actually make that a bad idea.
I mean, what is the amount that you have to pay to close the gap on doing most of the stuff? Like, say you get 40K out of 50K. What is what is like 10,000 volts? How much is 10,000 volts?
10,000 volts is about $20, depending on how you look at it. It's either 1,200 to 2,100 gold, is my understanding. I guess we could do the math. What, 50,000 is 9,000, 1 volt is 5. So it's probably like 2,000 gold.
Okay, and then if I wanted to buy a random Series 5 card, how much is that?
Random Series 5 is gonna be about, what is it, 4,000 tokens at like 1.3, I think? So probably like 6,000 gold? I think you make up the difference.
Yeah, maybe, but it does make the Kid Omega less special, I suppose. But yeah.
I feel like if you're going to monetize FOMO, there's no reason not to have another option that isn't turbo ass. You know what I mean?
No, because what I'm saying is you're not monetizing FOMO then.
I think you are just making it
so like, no, they miss out on it, and it's like, that's fine. I still get this other thing that's like roughly equivalent.
But I think if you have confidence that your card is desirable, then you are going to let that card be the lure that makes them decide against the random.
But then why include the random?
So that people don't complain about having done all this for nothing.
They're still going to complain. They're still going to complain that they couldn't get the card.
You think so?
And then what are they supposed to do? Shut up. You get a random Series 5 instead?
I feel like that genuinely goes a long way.
No.
You don't think it goes a long way?
I think it makes the entire situation worse, honestly.
Interesting. Well, there goes my idea. I have not saved Marvel Snap today.
I think it's reasonable. I don't think it is like a dumb suggestion or anything, and I think that it should definitely be like examined and mathed out, because if what you're saying is true, and it means that people are just going to be like okay with the event, and it sounds like it makes Second Dinner maybe more money in the long run, assuming that at some point they're going to just pay cash directly for Kid Omega, then it does seem like dub. I just don't know that is exactly the case, but that should definitely be examined.
Yeah. I also think that like what they're going to do internally is they're going to compare the revenue from this with the revenue from the Sanctum thing. And I feel like they should absolutely not do that under any circumstances, because the previous Sanctum was so fucked by Twitch drops that it wasn't even monetizable. And I feel like what I'm afraid of happening...
I agree with that.
What I'm afraid of them doing is they're going to look at this and be like, well, we made more money on this than on Sanctum, so that means this chase card strategy is better than when we put 3 cards that, like, you can get 2 out of 3. And it's like, that's not true. You fucked it with the Twitch drops. Like...
No, yeah, that's not an equivocal comparison. Like, you can't make that comparison. It's just so silly to do that.
I am afraid of it, though, because it's like, you say it's silly to do that, but it's the exact kind of thing that, like, someone who's looking at numbers divorced from context inside of a building would do.
I know. Dude, okay, so this drove me nuts. I sat in, there was like an all hands at Wizards of the Coast when I worked there in 2013 that destroyed me mentally, where it was just going over the results of a random survey, and I'm trying to think of exactly what the question, response, and their alleged takeaway from it was. It was like, do you enjoy Standard with Born of the Gods? And it was like 66% say yes or something. And then their takeaway was Born of the Gods improved standard.
I
was like, I feel like you got to give me another number to make it so that's the thing. It's
Fuck
like
me.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, like that's the thing I'm afraid of, is there's just going to be like some guy who doesn't understand context sitting behind a desk looking at spreadsheets, and that guy is going to make this call. And it's like, I don't know how to reach that guy. I don't know how to reach a guy that knows that guy. But that is my ultimate fear of this, is that they're going to look at this spreadsheet and look at these very heavily biased numbers and then be like, well, this is how we got to do it. That's what the numbers say. And then just sort of drive the community into extinction.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing I hate, is people who are just like, well, the numbers don't lie. And it's like, well, no, you can actually make them lie for you however you want. You can spin it in whatever direction you want.
Oh my God. You want to talk about numbers lying? Go look at any untapped stat. You want to talk about some fucking numbers lying? I can make anything look good, dude.
Do you know 17lands.com?
I do. The draft. For those who are unaware, 17 Lands draft stats. I remember this because I feel like this might have come up before. I saw an argument between Ginky and the Ham about it, where Ginky was like, I use 17 lands, and Ginky and the Ham was basically like, Ginky, I need you to walk outside the Pro Tour and go to the tables that the other people are playing at and then watch them for 5 minutes and then realize that's where you're sourcing your data. Like, you need to go outside, go to the GP that's happening, go to the bottom tables, not like the bottom, just in the middle, and watch them for 5 minutes.
No, that Ham is smart. Kyle Rose.
Yes.
For those unaware. But yeah, 17 lands, very much like Untapped, I believe, is like an opt-in thing, right? It's like a sort of tracker that you can use, and then it then distributes all this wonderful data to the folks that go to the website, to where if you go and look at like, oh, what is winning in this draft format? Everything wins at a 55% or higher win rate, because it is self-selecting for people who are inbred enough, or like that terminally just online playing arena.
They're fucking, you heard it here first. 17 lands users, inbred.
Well, they do get inbred, because then they use that data. Like this happened very much when Streets came out, where people were like, oh, the numbers say that Bant is good, therefore we are all going to just draft Bant all the time. And like they're going to win because they're the people who are just nonstop drafting all the time, enough to the point where they're like, oh, it'd be useful if I use a tracker. So then it's just like, oh yeah, the Bant numbers keep going up and we never learned how to draft anything else. Therefore, if we ever end up drafting red, black or whatever, our numbers are bad. And it's just like, oh my God, because people were just like, oh, this limited format is so bad. And I'm just like, I never see a Bant card because of you chuckle fucks. And I just draft everything else and I beat the tar out of all of you because everything else is very good. You just don't know what you're doing. But the only people who are contributing data to this website are people who are just forcing Bant, taking like the 3-dub 2/2 plus 2/0 on your turn with the shield.
Why are you saying this like I will know what it is?
No, I'm saying it's a 4-mana 2/2. It gets plus 2/0 on your turn, and it comes into play with a shield counter.
Oh,
it's just a 4-mana 4/2 with a shield.
Okay.
Mediocre as shit, but they're like, oh, it's the only Bant card in the pack. I'm taking it.
Oh, man. I mean, I just think that rocks, right?
It's like, if the only people who used a tracker were people who were in Series 2, right? Like, the numbers on some of those cards are like, Iron Man is probably cracked,
crazy.
Right?
Yeah, that card's
and
fucked
people
up,
are just
dude.
like, yo, you gotta nerf Iron Man. That shit is out of control. Like, just imagine how dumb that would be. Context matters a lot.
Context is like the most important possible thing. Like,
I agree.
it's and that's part of why, like, I don't even want to dunk on Untapped here. I use their service, but it's part of why these services are dangerous is because of the implicit presentation of the numbers, which is, well, these numbers represent quality.
Yeah, they should not ever be selling it. And I do believe that like 17 Lands effectively does this, where they're basically just like, this is the truth. This is how things really are. And it's like, you're telling me that everything wins 55% of the time. How is that possible?
You ever want to see some shit? Go check out Conquest stats at Infinite Conquest. Everyone using Untapped is just beating up players with 700 CL, and every archetype has a 55% win rate.
It's the same shit.
It's the same shit. Like, it's the reason Infinite Conquest it's so prominent is because there's no matchmaking by MMR in Infinite Conquest, so you can really see everyone who uses Untapped biasing the sample upwards dramatically because they're try hard enough to do that. But like, even beyond that, there's the go look at the tables outside the PT thing, where it's like, you can sort Untapped by the highest cohort being top 10%. I don't play anybody in the top 10%.
No.
Like, I don't play, like, the top 10% is, I don't know how many people, 10, down to, like, what? I don't know, infinite 5,000. They don't have a number after 5,000. I don't see people without numbers. Like, I don't even see those people. And it gets even more difficult when you talk about at the very top of ladder, where the SP math changes. I had an 8-cube tie, and I lost 6 SP.
Yeah.
It's just like,
get
fuck.
wrecked.
Yeah, you can't, yeah.
You ever try to queue for a Pro Tour on rating and play an FNM?
Yeah.
God, that's brutal.
That's exactly it. But yeah, it's just a very, like, it's not just a sample issue, it's a fundamental attribution issue with, like, the data, especially in Conquest, where it's just like, that is like, I don't want to call it worse than useless. If you understand all of this stuff, you can interpret the data well and you can put your own thoughts into it. That's fine. But if you don't know this and you just like parrot some Untapped stats at me, immediately I will write you off. Like, absolutely immediately. You have no idea what you're talking about. Like, you do not understand the situation. And it is not their fault that they don't understand the situation, because what is a data website supposed to do? Explain all of that to them? Like, who is going to explain that?
No, and you need a data website that's not opt-in. Like, you need a thing that, like, if you are scraping data from something and you are getting all of it, and then you can actually present it in a reasonable fashion, not just like, oh, here are the win rates of the decks at the Pro Tour, but only for the 10 people who said that they would tell me like what their records were and what they played against.
Or the other thing Magic does, here's the 5-0 deck dump. These are all decks that go 5-0, but we won't tell you how many of each archetype goes 5-0, just that these did.
Yeah. And it certainly won't tell you like what they played against.
Oh, God, no.
No, like how many of their opponents like just DC'd because they had to poop or whatever.
Shout out to the poopers out there who did this. Yeah. I mean, you know, get a laptop, take it to the bathroom with you. Never wash your hands. That's my advice.
Yeah. It's, oh, my wife's going into labor. You win. And it's just like, oh, okay, this Billy Bob just 5-0'd.
Hell yeah, brother. And now his deck's in the thing, and like, you ask the person about the deck and they're like, that was some fucking terrible trash that had 42% win rate, but I 5-0'd. It's like,
it's roughly equivalent to like the people posting their RCQ reports where it's like round homie 1 scoop. Got my ass kicked. Yeah, round 2 homie scoop, round 3 homie scoop.
The
cut
polycule
the top eight.
strategy for
Oh,
winning
yeah.
an RCQ, where you just get everyone in your polycule to concede to you.
Yep.
High EV play. If you can handle the emotional turmoil that comes with it, that's a high EV Magic play right there.
I mean, it sounds like you were getting a very strong emotional support network and also qualifying for the regional championship, which was all it
Maybe it's
took
all upside
for Ian Robb to top 8 100% of the Pro Tours he's played in so far. So,
well, that and some dice rolling.
true.
Yeah.
That is definitely one of those, weird branching pathways in the fabric of reality, right? Where it's just like, what if he just doesn't make that motion? What if he doesn't
then I would not have nearly as much respect for him as a human being as I do.
Well, yeah, you would have never heard of him because he'd probably still be playing Pokemon and beating up on, I don't know, not children. Like it is a lot of
the Pokemon 30, TCG. Yeah.
It's a lot of people my age, frankly, like a little bit younger, but
yeah, it's a lot of people my age. I had Azul on my channel. I had Azul and I think Cyrus Davis were the Pokemon players that I've had on my channel. Both of them are very, 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 very good.
Dude, you should get Ian Robb.
Oh my god! But like at this point, do I even want to do another rate the Marvel Snap cards video? I feel like the only thing people know about Marvel Snap is like I was playing some Hearthstone earlier today. I was streaming some Hearthstone. Spoiler alert, we're going to talk about this a little more later. I rated No Hands Gamer. We like kind of know each other. We have the same agency. He hung out with me and did a video like a year and a half ago.
You have an agency?
Yeah, I have an agent. It's an agency that's one guy, but yes, I have an agent.
Should I have an agent? Does that make sense?
I don't know. Maybe. It's just a guy, but yeah, like it's he represents a lot of us, and just like basically the idea is it's easier to get ads in groups, so he can get a contract and be like, I've got like 30 card game players. You are releasing a card game. Here is the thing. I don't take many of the things he offers me. I'm probably the shittiest client he has. Because I don't do crypto stuff. I don't do a lot of stuff I'm not interested in. I turn down a lot of shit. But yeah, like I knew No Hands, and I rated into him, and he was like, "Were you streaming Hearthstone? I heard some things about Marvel Snap." And just like the only thing anyone from any other card game would know right now is that everyone hates the developers. Like, it's just like not the right time to reach out to my boy, as much as I admire his talent at dice rolling.
I mean, he follows me on Twitter. I could DM him.
You DM him? Yeah. No, again, not the right time. Not the right time. I might take you up on that in a month if Marvel Snap still exists. But yeah, I guess I should like talk to you about this in terms of like what the hell to do now. Cause like I did a surprise Sunday stream. I never stream on Sundays. I played a game I don't play, which is Hearthstone. And viewership was about like half of what it would be for a Snap stream, which to me felt like that was really high. Like it was half and climbing. I ended it before the NBA Finals. And I was just like, oh, okay. There might legitimately be something here. So I'm thinking about doing like what I did for KM Pocket before I just sort of fell off of that game. Maybe spinning up a YouTube channel, doing something with regards to it. I originally wanted to do like a blind playthrough where I have all these cards, I have all my skill, but I don't know what the hell the meta is, right? That I don't think plays because my account still remembers that I used to be good at Hearthstone, so I have like 10-star MMR. So I have to play good people, and now I can't do that. And so just like, I don't really know where to go from there, but it is something that occurs to me. Like it is.
I feel like after you haven't played for like 6 years, your MMR should probably get reset. Because mine is probably in the same situation.
To be clear, it should be 11. Like if we're gonna be real, it should be 11. But whatever, that is what it is.
What should be 11?
My stars. I should have 11 stars, not 10. Turns out if you take 4 years off, it'll decay a little bit.
Oh.
But like there's no like I talked to McBannerface about it, Hearthstone Pro, and he was like, yeah, 10 is like basically any legend rank MMR. 11 is like top 2000 or whatever. And it's like, well, I certainly didn't get that low. Like, I certainly wasn't that low. Come on now. There's no way. But yeah, that's sort of where I'm at. Is like, Daddy Ridiculous Hat hooked me up with a bunch of creator stuff. I might be able to do their theory crafting thing on Thursday for the new set. And
what is that?
It's where it's like early access, like the Magic thing with early access. Yeah, it's like super dope. And there's just like a whole bunch of things to think about. I know a lot of my audience is like, oh, you know, we'll follow you anywhere. I don't think that's true of anyone except people who listen to this podcast. Those are the people who will follow me anywhere. But it is sort of, I want to have a backup plan at this point in case Second Dinner keeps doing this Kid Omega bullshit, is basically where I'm at.
I hope they don't. Do I have to download Hearthstone? Is that,
I don't know.
Is that where we're getting at?
That's not where I was getting at. I was asking like your opinions on that whole thing. Is that a good idea? You think it risks stretching myself too thin? Because I don't plan on not streaming Snap. I plan on doing all the same Snap streams that I normally do. I'll just add on some Hearthstone things and then maybe spin up a YouTube channel the same way I treated Pokemon Pocket.
I mean, obviously, you know, don't work yourself to death, right? But I think it is fine if you're doing like one a week or whatever, you know, keeping tabs on it, seeing what's going on. Especially make our hat feel like got some ROI in hooking you up.
His generosity was astonishing to me. Our hat, people don't know this about me. Our hat and I legitimately go way back. Like, all the way back to Blister Guy's Discord. Like,
oh, hell yeah.
Yeah,
I love
like, our hat and I go way back. And so, when I started streaming Snap, our hat, like, got on a video call and was like, stop fucking up the aspect ratio. Here is what your streams should look like. Here's all this stuff. He was my first moderator. And he also set up my entire Discord. And then, like, a few months into being one of my mods, the only one who ever did anything, my goat, he got hired as Hearthstone's community manager. He was like, obviously, I can't do this shit anymore, because I'm now doing, like, he effectively was doing unpaid community management for fucking me. Like, right. Yeah. And now it's his actual job, obviously, like, I'm over the moon for him. But it is, like, when I started redeeming the codes he sent me and realizing what they were, I was just like, holy fuck, dude. This is like the most I have ever benefited from nepotism in my entire life. Except maybe you. Except maybe you.
I was going to say. Like, whoa.
This is up there with the beta code that you got me. Like, this is elite level nepotism. That was dramatically, Jesus Christ.
Our hat,
ROI hat, baby.
Our hat. You have my Discord. Feel free to DM me. Your ROI with me is gonna be negative. Let me tell you, it's not. I'm not gonna do anything with it. Things would have to go very badly in my life, I think, in order for me to do that.
You're so good
but it's non-zero. Yourself.
Is it?
It's non-zero.
Is negative is non-zero, right? Like a negative number, it ain't zero.
That's true.
Yep.
Technically true.
Yep.
The numbers don't lie. We've established this.
Established it. The numbers are always right about everything. I remember the first time that, like, the big thing that introduced me to the concept of this shit, of the numbers things being stupid, was... And again, I really don't want to dunk on Untapped. I'm sorry. This was when they were HS Replay. And they would do archetype sorting by cards played. Like, for your opponent, they don't know what your opponent's deck is, so they'd be able to tell by the cards they played. Yeah. And this was when Cube Lock was a deck. Carnivorous Cube, Skull of Gul'dan. But there was also another deck. It was Control Warlock, which didn't have Carnivorous Cube and Skull of Gul'dan. Those two cards were busted as shit. So what happened is, if you categorized them by did you play Cube or Skull of Gul'dan, what you're doing is categorizing it by did the deck draw the good cards or not. And so there's like the cube lock decks have like a 59% win rate, and Control Warlock has a 43% win rate, and the difference is it's the same fucking deck, but one of them drew the good cards.
Yeah. Which is to some degree part of what 17 Lands is trying to do, where it's just like, how much improvement does it make to have this card? You know, like that is some of the data that they are giving folks or whatever. And it's Untapped is kind of doing that. Anyway, you can keep talking. I can still hear you. But I gotta go plug in my phone so Hearthstone can finish downloading.
That's insane. This is like actually in 30 episodes of the show, he's never left the screen before. Now he's leaving it for Hearthstone on the power of my recommendation. This is incredible ROI for Ridiculous Hat. I just like, I feel so good to be delivering, you know? I feel so good to be delivering on what I'm able to do here. What is on your arm that is purple? Why are you wearing a sweatband?
You never know when a pickup game is going to break out.
You don't do things. Are you wearing a sweatband to sit in a chair? What's happening here? Is it like a common thing?
For me or for people or
no, like for you? Like, are you often wearing sweatbands?
Oh no, I have a very offensive tattoo that I need to cover up in case the camera catches it.
Oh yeah, no, that makes sense. Is it the art for Invoke Prejudice?
Worse.
The art for God, what's that card with like the caricature of the African guy on it?
Coercion? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, worse. Worse than that too.
God.
Yeah.
What's the most racist Magic card of all time?
No, it's got to be Invoke Prejudice. Like,
it's like, how do I get worse? I can't think of a more racist Magic card.
Well, I never said it was magic art. I just said it was
what
an
else
offensive
would it be?
tattoo.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, but like an offensive tattoo that's germane to you. Surely.
Could be anything.
Yeah. I gotta imagine. Okay, I figured out what it is. It's the 5 colors, but white is crossed out because you're an anti-white racist.
That'd be cool. I'd probably display that. Maybe I'll get that as a neck tattoo.
No one would understand what it is. Like, it's like such an obscure political statement to make. It's the most obscure ideological point you could possibly make. I think that fits. Can I complain about something to your...
No.
Thanks. All right.
No Johns.
The Oklahoma City Thunder fucking suck, and I fucking hate them, and their ring is fraudulent, and I want them to go away. I would like to send...
How is their ring fraudulent when it... Fraudulent? Fraudulent when it's a game of skill.
The best player on the opposing team tore his Achilles after scoring 9 points in 5 minutes at the beginning of the game.
Oh. Yeah. That is pretty brutal.
It's pretty fucking fraudulent. All right, y'all. This has been the KMBest podcast. Thank you so much for listening. For Gerry Thompson, I'm KMBest. We'll see you in the next one. And honestly, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you stick with me as we, not necessarily leaving Marvel Snap. Don't want to act like I am, but at least explore my options as a potential free agent. So thank you so much.